Guys, I want to get loud all of a sudden.
Do it.
Sorry, I'm going to...
It's you. I knew it was coming.
I'm sorry, guys,
Can't
but I
hold 'em
need
back.
to do that.
It is. You feel like Poseidon chucking that bugger down in the water.
Sucking that bugger.
Did you butt out that deer?
I did not butt out that deer, but the next one I get,
Okay.
it's getting its butt out.
Is that little Stevie out here in the back?
Drobop. Bow drop, I'm sorry. Drobop. Hello. Stay tuned. I'll be back after my seizure.
Every little chipmunk that was running around, everything's dead quiet, and I went like that. Just happened.
I saw what is in essence a nature-gasm.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Rutten River Pursuits podcast. Thank you for gathering around the Sonic Campfire with us tonight. I am the Vice President of Thermally Reduced Confectionery Commodities,
Excellent.
Fishing's Bad Boy Podcaster. I'm Steve Meiser. Who's with me?
I'm with you, Will.
It's Uncle Buck over here.
I am the director of miscontributed data. I'm Ryan.
Miscontributed.
The contribution.
Miscontribution of data. I'm Ryan.
I'm Catfish.
This is Dave.
Apparently, Steve.
Guys, this episode has been... We're just going to get right to it.
I thought it was over already.
This episode has been
Concluding thoughts, anybody?
Over a year.
over a year in the making.
How can they find us?
You're not getting out of
Nah,
it
not that-
again.
nah, buddy.
That was you're close. So if you go on your Google machine and you type in Rutten River Pursuits,
Is that the Google?
or on
Google
the Google
machine.
the Google machine, you type in Rutten River Pursuits or Posted Outdoors. There's we got a lot of reach. There's reach branches everywhere, but those branches all make their way back into one trunk.
Yes. Our trunk.
Our trunk. And that trunk,
Who's that trunk?
It's like as wide as a tree that...
He's our big toe.
I have
big
referred
toe.
to him as our big toe in earlier podcasts.
sure
well,
have.
you're not lying there,
It's
but
as wide as a tree that Ryan couldn't get straps around.
That's how big that bear was. I'm saying.
so all of our reach comes back into one person, our producer and founder,
Catfish.
And spiritual guide.
spiritual guide, Will Meiser.
He's our chief inspirational officer.
Yeah. So tonight's episode is
That's-
get to know Will.
That's
You like that?
that's the most accurate term I think.
What was that
I've heard.
again? But say that again.
Chief inspirational officer.
Custodial
Yeah.
engineer. What'd you
Yeah.
say?
Custodial engineer.
Do you like that? Which one do you like better?
Either one.
They're
Either
all,
one.
yeah, they're all good. Very accurate.
Does this make you?
I've had to clean up a lot of crap.
But now I have a theory.
I'm sure.
He's working nose whistle reduction tonight.
Yeah, just one theory.
I have multiple theories, but I'm just going to share one with you tonight. That the reason why we've
Spit it out.
delayed this so long is because you just don't want to hear all the nice things we have to say about you.
I don't have anything nice to say
I went.
Is that right? Is that
on
accurate?
purpose. So I don't make them feel bad.
No, that's 100%.
So we're gonna so just to kind of break the ice or get it all out there.
Yeah, get your
at
tissues
once.
out.
What doesn't make sense to me is a podcast
Yeah.
where my podcast would be before yours. That's what doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know why that wouldn't. A lot of people would.
I'm just kidding.
A lot of people would have assumed that
Well,
should have happened that way. I mean,
But
I was surprised when it didn't. To be quite honest,
You mean to tell me?
I think it was part of the lost episodes.
We did this one. Yeah, this is a redid.
I wouldn't expect anything less from Will, and that's why he's a great leader. Is he leads from the front, and he will promote us before him.
hold that thought because
And that's exactly, I think,
hold that thought because we're gonna do this one different. All the get to know.
Is this the speed round?
No, we're gonna before we get into the speed
Let's get
round.
deep.
Stevie wants to lead.
Before we get into the speed round,
Quarterback this, Stevie.
He says, I'm going to make this all about Will by doing it my way.
we're gonna do it my way.
He didn't get to talk last week for 3 seconds.
Yeah, you're right. We talked about
Hey, what's your scary story
hunting
with
stuff,
Steve?
You know, shoot, I stepped on a spider the other day. That's about as scary as it gets.
Okay.
But no,
When you don't have change or a credit card for the bait machine, that's his scare. That's what scares
when
Stevie.
your alarm doesn't go off,
are
when
no
you're
bloodworms
supposed
in
to
this
be-
Yeah.
No, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna
a
do this
reoccurring
get to know
nightmare for Stevie.
episode. We're gonna do this get to know episode different. So we're gonna start out. So we have a smallish group tonight compared to last week when everyone was here. But we're gonna start this episode out a little different, and each one of us 5 is gonna go around and just give a short compliment to Will, just to make him as uncomfortable as possible, to really put him on the hot seat. We're going to say one thing that we appreciate the most about him. And
I'm going last for sure on this.
yeah,
one.
yeah.
It'd take me a while to think of one.
So Phil already started, and I rudely cut you off. So you go ahead and you get.
Where was
rude.
Where
got-
was? No, you weren't rude. You
I'm
just,
sorry,
You
that's-
just took the show
I'm
by its
sorry.
horns.
I
and
feel bad.
I respect for it's mad.
It was
respects.
nothing personal, but
No, it's no. I'd
honestly,
none taken.
Nothing personal.
But where was I though on that?
Good night.
Because now we just shifted
Where's your
gears,
Cliff Notes at, Phil?
guys. I'm the ADHD grandpa here,
I thought it was about Will. Who's
And-
Cliff?
but
he was only around
you-
for 3 episodes.
But Steve,
You said-
to answer the question that
You said
asked,
you like my front.
and your back.
That's where we left off.
I
There it
like
is.
all of you.
You
Here
said
we go.
I led the front and I got your back.
you talking
lead
about
from the
his
front.
leading, yeah.
You lead from the front, but you put us troops before you. Well, you're happy when you're out doing things, but you're happier when you are enabling us to be doing things. 364 days out of the year, you're doing what I was describing about Christmas last year for, All I Want Is Bibs and Love episode. You do that 364 days.
Absolutely.
You're not about the material thing. You're elevating. You're getting pleasure out of other people succeeding in life, or getting enjoyment out of life, out of experiences, out of. And then to answer Stevie's question, and then I'll let the next guy move on, or else we'll be here for 4 hours.
It would be easy
Yes,
to
Go
do that,
on.
wouldn't it? Yeah.
but Stevie had asked what one thing to put Will in a nutshell, and it's hard to put Will in a nutshell. But you know how you have an explosive, but you need a detonator to set it off, or else that explosive isn't any good, or any other like
C4.
thing,
Who hasn't been there?
or a computer
Pretty nice little Thursday.
that does some great tricks, and it has a huge power and potential. But if it's not plugged in, it's never going to do anything.
Yeah.
Will is a catalyst.
Oh, I
He's
thought
a
you were gonna say
catalyst.
He's explosive, and you have the detonator.
No, he's the catalyst.
Come on, baby, light my fire.
You are.
So
I
he's
mean,
Jim Morrison.
I'm Jim Morrison.
no, he's more like
Van Morrison.
Proud girl.
like Henry Noble.
Chernobyl.
He harnesses power,
Barnes
and he knows how to safely get that
Noble.
power to become its fullest potential.
Explosive.
Explosive, a catalyst. I mean, he makes things happen. He's the detonator cap. And the perfect example is he'll hone in to something that's going on with me. He gives me a little kernel, and boom, he ignites that in me, because I come back to him and say, "Wow, I'm glad you said that, because you know what I just did with that? I just did this, and this." And it really helped, and I had a good time.
I love you, buddy.
You're hitting the nail on the head there.
You know what? And
What
You're hitting the nail
I
on the
see
head.
in the last year from you, and we've all grown, is I've seen Will has brought out the strengths and the bests in you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're trying to say as a catalyst?
He's a man. Look at that beard.
Absolutely.
Look at it.
You know,
We're looking at
you
the
guys
mirror.
go on, because I can't go there yet. Here,
Take
so
it.
He
go.
just
We'll get
can't.
I think
bud.
you were,
You know,
you were,
get
you were
there,
doing great.
No,
Well,
I can't.
This is
You were
He's.
doing good. I liked it.
I'm going to take over. For
Yeah.
just
You
a
gonna
second.
you gonna
Because
piggyback on that?
I'm going to piggyback on it just like I did last week. And the reason why, because Phil was there. He was right there, and he just didn't say the word. Because if I was going to sum up my will in just one word, it's selfless.
It was selfless.
It's selfless.
But wait a second. No, I'm not. I'm going to let you finish. But selfless, or is it selflessness? Because selflessness would eat the heel of the Stromboli and let the middle part.
he goes right for the gut of the
But he has
Stromboli.
principles, though, too.
But what you guys are
And
doing
that's
is,
another attribute that we love about
and
him.
here's why Will going to the heart of a Stromboli sticks out for everybody so much. It's because it's one of those strange acts that's so out of his character.
Yeah,
that it stands out, because otherwise, in every other aspect of his life besides Stromboli, he's selfless.
I want you guys
Right?
to understand something.
Go ahead. I'll let you speak.
It's a lesson.
It's all lessons.
Going to the heart of Stromboli is a lesson.
Did your dad
If you
and
want
Uncle
to pay
Steve teach you
attention to
that?
tonight and what happened up in the lunchroom here at the R2 headquarters
The Podcastle.
at the Podcastle.
I like it.
I really like that.
Nobody noticed that today. In
I
the
was the
text?
first one there, and you were the last one there.
I got what I deserve.
You got the heel twice.
Big deal twice. I
There's
would
two heels on every Stromboli. That's the thing we
got
got to
them
know.
both.
There's only one heart.
You heel stomp me.
Yeah, I just want you to know that.
You heel stomp me twice.
Nice lesson.
Get
So-
dinner earlier.
Get you some, bud. Get you
In-
some.
He just taught you Darwinism.
I've been part of the podcast for 8 months, something like that. You know, I know that the podcast itself just celebrated a year. I joined shortly thereafter. But I've known Will for probably pushing 2 years at this point. And that's what I've known of Will, is his selflessness. He wants everybody to just shine. And unlike most people, he's not going to blow out your candle to make himself shine brighter. He's going to take his candle and hold it right up to your light, Phil.
Yeah.
And he's going to light your fire. I'm going back to
Like 800 lumens.
yeah, his lumens are ridiculous. Don't make him put it on strobe.
To the point he puts me back into seizure-like activity.
That's my take. That's my, all warm,
all
fuzzy
I've-
stuff.
All I've ever wanted, literally, all I want is to say I have the best bad word friends in the world. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I want is just the baddest, coolest friends in the world. And I've got them.
So that's kind of goes along with
I'm
what
selfish.
I'm thinking is
And I don't share my friends.
They're all mine.
if I had to sum my brother cousin up in 2 words, it would be fiercely loyal. Because
Yeah.
there's and that's been since for as long as I've been alive. Will is extremely loyal to a fault. If you're in with him, he's in with you, no matter what. And just take me for example.
Here we go.
A socially awkward guy that likes to fish by himself.
What?
And I get, and my cousin calls me up one day and says, "Hey, come down. We're doing a podcast." And okay, why I wouldn't be doing anything like this if it wasn't for Will. So it's that loyalty that I'm here for you. If is obviously as long as you're here for me, there's that it doesn't matter what you do or who you are. If you're with Will, he's with you. 100%.
He's ride or die.
He's ride or die. 100%.
As long as you got the black and orange on,
Yeah.
flying the right colors.
As long as you're not through on the other side of a dark cornfield, then you're on your own.
Eventually die.
I am ride or die. What? You're in a corn? Oh, well, good luck with that.
I went through the cornfield for my
Come
brother.
to me.
Well, for me, Will has been completely welcoming from the start. I reached out to R2 pretty much when you guys got started, just chit-chatted. Will's been nothing but welcoming to me and encouraging. I wouldn't be here if it wouldn't be for Will. So those two things are huge for when I think of Will, just welcoming and encouraging. And, glad to be a part of this, and it's because of him. So just happy to be part of the team, and happy Will's our leader.
Leader.
We're
There's
glad
another
to
word.
have you.
Leader, like, is that wire or braid?
It's
a thicker,
fluorocarbon.
it's thicker part.
It's,
It's actually
things
like
can
like-
bite on.
It's the way the Canadians measure liquids.
No.
Completely different than what I was. Okay, all right.
I was thinking like 40-pound fluorocarbon.
Yeah, I was thinking like
Chew on that a while.
He's strong enough that you can still make a knot, but
I mean, I'd love to just reel in Stevie's musket.
I got bit by an adder.
it was the Dawn Mon.
Is the dome.
Catfish, you've known Will as long as anybody here. What's your take?
Let me ask the question first, though. Is anybody that's gone so far, is anybody wrong?
That's a good question.
That's a great question.
Stevie.
Other than me.
Other than Stevie, is anybody wrong?
You woke up wrong.
That's a look I've never seen before from Catfish.
I can't say that anybody's wrong. I just don't think that, as hard as it is for the things that you guys are trying to say about Will, I know that it's hard for you to get out what you really want to say.
Yeah.
And it's tough. I've skipped stones with Will since second grade. The most simplest things in life when we were kids made us happy. I mean, literally putting a chain back on a bike together as friends were inseparable. We grew up with nothing. We weren't rich by any means. We shared each other's clothes, and our biggest things were playing outside. Like, that's what we had. The outdoors is what we had as kids. And growing up, I feel that sometimes growing up that I grew up as Will's big brother, and somebody that he always looked up to up and until, even 12 years ago when we started Posted Outdoors, and Will countlessly made me feel on top of the world as he came to me for advice. His ideas were always ran by me, even though he didn't have to see my take on things. And as years have progressed and I took the wrong roads and Will has taken more of the right roads, my big brother status has turned into the young brother. He absolutely has led me and guided me in my life. I am in my profession because of him. I'm still here because of him. He has talked me off ledges in my life through back surgeries.
Wow.
He has told me to believe in myself when I didn't. And to this day, he still asks me for my advice, and I humor him by telling me my opinions because he loves me and asks me, because he wants to know that it's not approval, or it's not like, do I think this is a good idea? He does it out of love because he knows it makes me feel important. But I'm no longer the big brother. In the last 6-7 years, I've become the younger brother. And
You think so?
I have so. And I absolutely have always wanted somebody in my life that I know that would protect me and look up to me, but now I look up to him. So
Yeah, Catfish is wrong.
Here's to our big toe.
Here's to our big toe.
Yeah, dude.
But that's
but
like
knowing Will, like you said, knowing Will the longest.
Yeah.
I've seen everybody has ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing that I can say about Will is he can overcome obstacles that knock most men down. And I know that he has momentary lapses of weaknesses with his like I know he has issues where he wants to be a certain way physically and a certain way mentally, but he is his biggest critic because he is doing all of it constantly at an accelerated rate.
Never turns it off.
Will, it's almost like things don't happen as fast as his mind wants, but they are. You just don't see it. You're amazing.
But at the same time, he shares that journey with you, though, too, and pulls.
You never give up, brother.
He pulls us with him. He's on
I'm out. That's all I had to say tonight.
Oh, good. I want to to use Ryan's term, I'm going to piggyback off of Catfish.
Yeah. He's great for pulling that term out of the ethos.
I wanted to be funny tonight.
Zeitgeist.
Did I ruin it?
No, you didn't.
We have plenty of time. We have plenty of time to be funny.
You know what? You know what's happened is while everybody else was talking, since I said what I said and got a little choked up, and I've continued to be choked up listening to all this.
I'll choke you.
But
hard.
Will is there doing it. He's the first person in my adult life that has held my hand in this day-to-day life of always trying to be a better person the next day and to learn from our mistakes from the previous day and to pick up, do a little bit better the next day. And in a week, we're even stronger. It's like doing push-ups or setting off on an exercise. Those first couple of days, they're hard. And then when it gets kind of mundane and dull, well, I learned this today, and well, okay, that's what I needed to hear from you to get me to do what. It's that daily struggle of never being satisfied with who you are. There's always room to do more with the gifts that we've all been given from the beginning.
It all comes down to one simple fact, I think, for all of us. Stevie wouldn't be sitting here. He'd be fishing by himself. I'd probably be in jail or worse. Your mentor, if I use that word correctly, now.
Mentor.
Is your life better have not being part of this group and knowing Will?
Oh, my life is better for knowing Will. I would not have been a part of this group if it wasn't for Will, which has enabled my life to be better.
You're a podcaster first.
I guess in my world, in the blind shaman world, in Uncle Buck's world, related to a gym and you got a lifting buddy giving you encouragement when you're lifting a bench press for your personal best for whatever. I don't know. I've never been to a gym.
He's your spotter.
Yes, but he's
Phil. Your shaman's mind is so complex, and we know that your heart is so big. Just stop and look and go, "Thanks, bud," and he'll get it because he knows.
But
oh, I do, bud. I'm with you.
You're always you're pushing. We're like, okay, what did we learn today? Like, it may be something really little, but we talk about that. Okay, then let's build off of that. Let's do this, and it may not be hunting. It may just be Phil keeping his mouth shut when he really probably should, instead of being unfiltered like he normally is.
I like unfiltered Phil.
I know, but there's certain areas in life, like at the in the workplace, that I think there's been times if it wasn't for Will, I may be looking for a new job.
Well, sure.
You know,
that's what happens when you have a big brother. He watches your back.
If you boil down everything that we've all just said, it all comes to one thing.
Yeah.
And that's Will. We were all right.
Yeah.
Everybody hit it at different levels. Some people are related. Some people have known him forever. A couple of people are relatively new. And we've all said the same thing.
And none
what
of us
we
disagreed,
said,
yeah.
We all just said Will.
You're so right.
It's not. Yeah. That's not super profound.
I think it was quite profound.
Yeah. You're just
don't
like
shortchange me, bud. This is not my episode. It's yours.
You're like, Ryan wears camo, likes hats,
bears with earrings,
wears vests, and everything that I just said
is right.
Is Ryan.
See?
Sweet Ryan.
All right.
Anyway.
It is like what I said.
So, wait. So we're ready to start the lightning round here. And I think Catfish had said that he wants to start us off.
Oh, yeah, it's lightning round.
This is a lightning round.
Everybody got one? Let's go.
Let's go.
Got it.
Guys or girls?
Girls.
You knew I had to start it with that one.
Straight up girls. But, I mean, you guys are nice.
Yeah.
Crunchy or smooth?
Crunchy and smooth. But crunchy.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
I run about 6 seconds behind you guys here in my thought process.
Margaret Thatcher or Winston Churchill?
Holy mackerel.
It's lightning round, right? Churchill.
Why?
Good. I just like his
It's lightning
his
round.
accent.
You can't ask why.
like his fancy accent, yeah. It sounds like he's from the Lake District.
30-6 or 308?
30-6.
30-6.
Largemouth or smallmouth?
Smallmouth.
Ballmouth.
You know, it's kind of like
Oh, there's a good one. Wet wading or kayaking fishing?
Oh, that's a
Ooh,
good
that's a very good one.
wet waiting.
You gotta be kidding me. Or what the heck?
I like. You got to be kidding me.
I knew you were going to say that.
Actually, no.
I like that one too.
Pump or semi?
Semi.
What's your favorite color?
Black.
Male or female?
Male again.
Whoa.
Whoa.
See,
That's off the beaten path. I like that. Thank you.
no, but I already answered it. I said female the first time, so
Archery or
it
rifle?
was like the first question.
I started it.
Let's play that back.
What's your favorite color?
Crunchy or smooth? Now, let's try to reboot
We
it.
can never get
try
through
to
the
reboot
lightning
it.
round.
Stripes.
Archery or rifle?
Archery.
Tree stand or blind?
Tree stand.
Dog or cat?
But I don't like heights. So
So who puts you up in that tree stand?
no. Well, I don't like the lock ones. More,
Fake.
yeah.
You need a ladder stand.
I like ladder stands, but you're more successful with it. What?
Stevie.
Dog or cat?
Dogs.
Vacation, going north or south?
North.
Oh, that's a good one.
Fishing or hunting?
Fish.
Bear fishing.
Bear fishing.
Duck fishing.
A year
you know
ago,
what?
that
It
a
would
year
have been a
ago that had
different
been
story.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's why I asked it.
I'll do whatever now.
That was a trick question. almost for
Freshwater or
lightning
saltwater?
round.
I'm a freshie guy.
Stuck on a deserted island. You take Michelle Harms
Yes.
or Carrie Zelka?
How do you pick? You know?
You take Carrie because she's got Michelle's number.
Yeah. There you
Doesn't
go.
Michelle have Carrie's number? too?
Probably. I'm just trying to.
I'm pretty sure there's a sat phone on that island.
Do we dare say it? I mean, it's redundant.
You can say.
Strumberry or calzone?
Strawberries, hands down.
Strawberries or
Did I
cantaloupe.
say strawberries? Did I say strawberries?
Yeah, you said strawberries.
Strawberries or blueberries? Strawberries or blueberries?
Frankenberry.
This was my argument 9 months ago. I can't think of strawberries.
I'm so sorry.
Strawberry or cantaloupe zone?
I'll take the cantaloupe zone.
Strawberries for me.
I could have told you that.
So I take it as Stromboli.
Ham wallets or fun bags.
Fun bags.
What's your favorite cereal?
Golden grams.
Red onions or white onions?
That's not a bad choice.
Come on.
Oh yeah.
Golden Grams?
Fruity Pebbles is the best.
Who's your favorite president?
I don't disagree with that. Well, no, I kind of do.
You got to get
But
the generic, though. Sorry.
Favorite president, Will?
Ulysses S. Grant.
Wow.
Onions or no
You know,
onions?
and I'll tell you, he's like Mike Tomlin. You know, I mean, he inherited a good team. I don't know.
No, I'm
Amen to that.
buying into that. I like that. That's good stuff.
The dude had a lot to. And
Who can
I don't
argue
know,
with that, man? I'll tell you.
It's a cool name. He honestly, Ulysses is cool. Nobody else has that.
We almost named our second son Ulysses.
But yeah, cool. Yeah.
Unconditional surrender.
He had a hard go. You know,
I
he had to deal with everything after.
mutual respect as a historian. You know, Grant was unfortunately it took another president between Lincoln and Grant, but Grant understood what Lincoln wanted to do post Civil War, and if Grant tried to undo a lot of bad things, and you know, but amen, brother.
I just think that dude had a hard road. He put in his time being a general,
And he got the job done where others didn't.
You can spend one night in the White House or the Playboy Mansion.
Playboy Mansion. What?
The where?
Hot wings or corn dogs?
Hot dogs. Hot wings, probably. Yeah. I love me some corn dogs, but I'll eat hot dogs anytime.
IPAs or
Lightning
porters.
round, so you gotta.
Corn wings.
IPAs or porters.
Right now I'm porters, but that could change seasonally.
Yeah, it's winter months.
All right, let's move out of the lightning round a little bit here. We're already starting to inadvertently.
But we don't know what his favorite superhero is.
Okay, Ryan, you have one more?
Yeah,
You wanna
favorite
close this out?
superhero. Batman.
Nice.
Snake clowns. No.
No snake clowns.
No. No.
Snake clowns.
No. Lego Batman.
Lego Batman.
Lego Batman.
Lego Batman's the best.
All right, so you look around this podcast studio, and I see hunting equipment, I see fishing equipment, I see workout equipment, and there's something else that, and we've covered all those. We talked a lot of those on other podcasts. But one area of you that we've never talked about,
Drones.
I don't see any drones,
Clowns.
bud, is yeah, clowns.
Clowning.
Thankfully, there's no clowns down here.
You wouldn't see one down here.
Is your music background?
I was gonna say the guitar that always sits beside him.
Yeah, there's guitars. Multiple guitars behind you. Can you?
A bass, I think, even too.
I don't
There's
know what
extra
those
credit
are.
here if anybody can tell me the rest of this sentence. Something with donuts.
Room.
I can't. That's amazing. Extra
Room for
credit.
donuts.
Room for donuts.
Room for
Yeah.
donuts.
Tell us about your
Just
music.
briefly,
Briefly.
Yeah. I just had parents that loved music growing up. They both played guitar. I had my father kind of, if he ever had a legacy, it would be this crazy old stack of just dusty records. And at a very, very young age, he had this back in the day. I mean, this is crazy for a lot of people, but he had this monster stereo system. I think it was probably the most expensive thing we had in the house. And there was like speakers everywhere. We had the crappy little TV, but we had this monster sound system. And in the late 80s,
Yeah, all the components.
all the components,
You had 'em all.
equalizer, all that stuff is just stacked on stacked.
an equalizer? Look at all those lights.
Dual cassette deck.
Nah.
Get you some.
The
Phonograph.
speakers were intimidating.
It was just huge, and it was just everything that you could tell the dude liked music, and one of the Christmases I got this mini version of my dad's system.
Nice.
And it's like it literally is like the cutest like little mini version.
How old do you think you were?
Oh my god, 85.
Oh shoot.
It was elementary
It
school.
was elementary school.
Nice. So Will's like,
Wow, you were way ahead of your time. man.
gonna make
for elementary school.
Yeah,
It was like
I was
back.
making mixtapes.
mixtapes.
It was back when the dual cassette tape still was playing like Run DMC.
I
Like
was
way back in the day.
I was in junior high getting that stuff the same time you were. And it'd be like back in my day when I got the Kiss album and some 14-year-old didn't.
Yeah. So I had this little mini version. It had a record player and it had dual cassettes and it had the real
Sweet.
tall speakers, and so it was in my bedroom and I kept it all nice and
Techniques.
yeah, I kept it all nice and neat and everything like that. It was. I think that one was a Fisher. Was
Yeah.
the one I had.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like this crazy name
Fisher
brand,
Price.
but it was.
Nice. Fisher.
Yeah.
It was loud.
But
That's all that matters.
what I
You didn't have
got
Sony yet,
was
Fisher.
this big dusty stack of records,
Vinyl.
vinyl, and it was like, and again, I'm in elementary school, but like I got Led Zeppelin, I got Black Sabbath, I got Bread, I got
You got Dad's collection.
Journey, I got like he just had everything, Beatles.
I think
There-
those Journey ones got mixed in by mistake, but go on.
it was for profiling.
He's like, Dad, I don't like these.
You had the
Good
vinyl
boy.
of the cassette tapes that I got. That's what's cool. Is like oh my god!
Yeah,
I
so-
can only know.
And that's kind of where it started, and then
250624.
Chicago, yeah, and so I can. That's why I can name all that stuff because I just
some
grew up
Journey.
with it.
Did
I
you have
grew
some
up
Journey on vinyl?
That's what he said.
everything. I already said that.
Foreigner.
How about Led Zeppelin or
We would
Sabbath?
jam that out while we were playing the original Kung Fu on Nintendo. Do you remember that game?
The Kung Fu, absolutely.
There was only like 5 levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that threw the knives was a jerk. Could never get
So-
there. So later in life, you're pretty damn good on a guitar, and you actually had a couple buddies that I remember when you called me up and were like, "Listen to this." I had like the little demo tape of Room for Donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't
We-
you,
we
you
did.
wrote a song for Leanna on there?
I wrote a bunch of stuff.
I remember that one. From
Wrote a song about it. Like to hear it. Here you go.
Like here it goes.
Seriously, I never really. I took the long way around. Like I never learned guitar in the classical sense. Like
You were self-taught.
for the most part, like it was just a way for me to explore.
Like Hendrix, Richie Valens. I was trying to think of some famous guitar players.
Hendrix.
Townsend,
And to this day, you still enjoy music to this day.
Threw out Richie.
Eddie Van Halen.
Eddie Van Halen's who I was thinking of when I said Richie Valens.
It was a way for me to.
Pete Sambora.
Who's Pete Sambora?
It's Richie's brother.
Richie Sambora. Sorry. David's cousin.
Are you going to play us something?
No. So it was a way for me to kind of just explore my, like your feelings and
Sure.
the things, like get some stuff out that you honestly don't know how to do. Like it's not in communication and what's the word? It's not intuitive. So you kind of find these outlets, these creative outlets. And I wasn't super artistic. I mean, Catfish can draw anything,
But I have no musical talent whatsoever. I have the Black Album from Metallica in my truck
Yeah.
since high school and still don't know the words. Like I don't know lyrics. I have no musical ability. But I grew up in a house that was silent. My family didn't listen to music. Like the only music I've had in my life was growing up with you. Mm-hmm. But my house, there was no radios on. There was no music. There was no, like I grew up with none of that. My dad liked silence.
Yeah.
And he liked just it. If it wasn't quiet, it wasn't good. So I didn't grow up with any of that until I was around you, and didn't even really get into music till we were together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just, we've always had Jimi Hendrix and Elton John and like everything just kind of.
I can remember
going
riding
all the
bikes
time.
with
Yeah.
you early in like Willowbrook with boom boxes on our shoulders. And we thought we were just bad because we had this giant double tape deck boom box that took
Yeah.
all these batteries, and we were running around on our bikes.
We didn't have a lot, but we had music.
Yeah, we had music.
And that was It's always been a part of my life. So, and that's kind of the long and the short of it. I have had little kind of tiny bands, and we've always tried real hard, and we played until our fingers bled.
You should write a song about that.
Remember that summer? But you know, that was funny. I mean, it was always cool and fun, but it never amounted to anything. I can't say, other than this. You know, you kind of buy a bunch of mics and some recording equipment, and then you just start editing that stuff instead. You know, so it kind of
We could still jam, buddy.
transitioned into this.
R2 Pursuits band.
I've often thought we should start a band.
Yeah. I can play a pretty mean cymbal.
I bet.
Yeah.
I'll sing.
Oh, I can't play it. I can't play anything, so I guess I'm going to be the damn belly dancer up
You
front.
can
What am I
belly
supposed
dance.
to do?
Man dance.
I'm going to do the
Yeah.
man dance, the fire baton.
I would like to take Stevie's question there and transition.
You gotta piggyback.
Not to piggyback. I'm wanting to pivot.
Pivot that question, baby.
Pivot just a little bit.
What's the question that he asked?
In the world of the humanities, he asked about your music background and that another aspect out there in entertainment and expression is comedy for you. You like comedy. You follow comedians. Tell us a little bit. Like we've had conversations about SNL skits and just appreciating different comedian styles.
It's no secret we like to laugh.
And we like to laugh, and we like
Not
how,
you.
and we like
Not
talking
me.
about how people make us laugh, even on that level. And how does comedy factor in your life?
There's a
I can't wait for this.
super fine line between comedy and tragedy, and if I'm not laughing, I'm crying. So, you know, it goes back. I mean, again, just having people that love to have a good time, and if I can make people laugh, it's just I did my job for the day. I've said that for a long time.
You're actually know, like, not to go back to the beginning of this podcast, but you're very good at knowing when other people need to laugh and trying to help them do that at the right times. And you're absolutely good at it. Like when people are at their worst, that aspect of you being able to come up with a way to make people laugh actually helps them. And it doesn't always, we don't always do it here on the podcast, but here at our brotherhood, like here on the phone, when I have a bad night, Phil has a bad night, it's very easy for you to turn one of us around through the right moment, the right timing of some kind of comedic something.
Levity.
Yeah, you're good at it. So.
It's levity, and it's the timing of the levity. And all we're doing is we're all going around, and we're providing examples to the definitions that we made earlier.
I think
So what you just described right there, having that perfect timing, is the selflessness that is Will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We keep going back to this.
Sorry, Bob.
We're not getting away from it.
I want to. I don't mean to interject or
go
retort, if I will. I don't know what retort means. I just heard it today.
Toward again.
It's a nice.
Stevie and Stevie, I love the quarterbacking of this, but I've been waiting all day to get to know Will, to tell a few funny stories about Will.
Please.
Do you have any of those before I start?
Yeah, there's 90% of any of the stories
Coming from you?
Lies.
of yeah. We'll get.
I set you so up for that.
90% of our stories will come down to either one of us, accusing the other one of something that I feel strongly didn't happen, or he feels strongly didn't happen. So you're not going to get a straight story. I mean, there's examples where we used to work together a lot. So I
Is this back when you used to still produce, or he
This
did
was-
and you used to tell on him?
no, I mean there would be
Just saying,
you know,
I pay attention to this podcast.
somebody would drive a forklift into the side of the building or something, and somebody would go, tell their
Stevie did
uncle that Will drove a forklift into the, and then you never live it down. So I don't really even want.
Snitches get stitches.
Just gonna say that.
That's not how it happened, but that's his side of the story.
I was
Oh, here we go. Yeah,
nearing
See?
the edge
See what
of
you
the.
started?
No, I wanted to hear the story.
I was nearing the edge of the door. Like it went into glass. It wasn't the wall. It went into the glass, and it just caught.
We
the
can't
door
even agree on that.
with this. With this gigantic forklift. I just got a little close.
Did it break the glass?
It cracked it. Did not go through. It just cracked it. Anyway.
Well, that was finesse.
Exactly. I knew the potential of this tow motor before it even cracked. Stevie was halfway down the aisle, heading towards my uncle's office.
I don't remember it at all like that.
Was that?
How I remember it was, Will, are you okay? Is there anything you need help with?
my
Two sides to
God.
every story, boss.
Can I help you at all? Let's get you off the forklift. Let's make sure
I'm
you're
gonna run. I'm gonna run to go get help.
Let's make sure you're calmed down. Or to make sure
That's what I heard. I can't believe he did that.
So
None of that.
What I've always found to be the truth is, as you hear both sides of the story, they're always, one extreme and then the other. So the truth generally is somewhere in the middle.
No, this
I'm telling the truth.
version is a lie.
What I'm getting out of this is Will smashed the glass. Stevie was laughing.
No, I cracked it. It wasn't a smash. It was just a little.
That's your story.
I don't remember it being just a crack. But,
And that's his story. So I'm guessing.
Well, I'll tell you this: that door didn't get fixed for a long, long time, so it wasn't that bad.
Well, it was a miser that owned the building, so they're going to shell out $25 to get a door fixed. Come on.
I'm getting a common theme.
Well, it was
with most misers.
Was this the same day that you ran and said that Will wrecked the tow motor into the window and he's eating apples he stole out of the produce section?
I honestly didn't. If you look at my body habitus and you look at Stevie's, look who's, eating the potpourri. Not me.
I ate a lot of produce.
I have no clue how. This might. This
you
might
didn't
even
wash the chemicals.
This is where we
I
need
didn't
the
even
visual
wash the chemicals
perspective.
off.
was he just antisocial? Or I don't understand to this day. And it might be for another podcast. How I grew up with Will since second grade. We're inseparable. You went to my high school in my class.
No, just like 6th or 7th grade, something like that.
And I never met you.
I don't either.
Where were you?
I don't know.
Were you telling on me for shit that I did too?
Absolutely.
No wonder I got in trouble so much in 6th and 7th
I was
grade.
ratting you out. Hey, catfish is down there.
They
in the
moved
ditch.
Stevie's desk
Play
to the
with
principal's
two
office.
copperheads again.
Snitches get stitches.
Well, Stevie's not the only.
I don't mean to correct you, Principal, but it was two copperheads and not two. I'm sorry I interrupted you. But
No, you're good. Will's not completely innocent in the world.
You can say that again.
We went to a
tell.
We went to a summer camp with lots. There's 600, 700, 800 kids at this summer camp. We went to this summer camp every year and we shaved our heads. And we ran around and terrorized the swimming pool and went to art, like the little art things, and made stuff we weren't supposed to. But there was a log cabin that we shared, and our friend Chris back in the day was in our.
We didn't do too many summer camps, but it was just like
It was 2 or 3 years. I
2 or
think
3 years in a row. we
Sounds
went
like
to.
fun.
And then the county made laws against that.
Yeah. But I remember one day Chris telling me that Will was in trouble. And I'd just gotten out of the shower and I ran out to help Will. And the last thing I saw as I ran out on the porch in my towel was like they were hiding under the porch or something. We were young, so I don't remember the story completely. But what I do remember is them taking my towel and locking the door with me on the porch right when the girls' camp was walking by our log cabin. And they were laughing and yelling as They left me on the porch
but
buck
catfish.
naked.
Why were they laughing?
Do you remember what they were yelling?
I didn't
Oh
say
my
the-
God! Look at that three-legged boy.
Look at that 2-inch Kitech.
No, wait a minute. I never.
trying to help you.
swim bait, ladies.
I was trying to help you. I said three-legged boy.
I never
Saying.
said the girls were laughing. I said Chris and Will were laughing at me. But I remember almost that was the first door I remember kicking to try to get back.
That was free advertising.
So
Next
Stevie,
2 years, he
You
was.
are welcome.
Yeah, he was camp pimp.
I was Camp King. He's not completely innocent.
was
Don't let us
on.
tell you. Sure. Oh my, yes.
That was me helping you out, brother. That's for sure.
That's again the enabling will.
I've never been shy ever since. So you did help me out. Never. Even with the Uncle Jeff Shorty shorts in Florida, I've totally felt comfortable.
I bet.
No, I remember camp very well. Camp was fun for us, and not only camp. Let's go back real quick to like when we grew up riding bikes around the neighborhood. I can still remember that even back then there was some kind of oddness, like with all the kids in the neighborhood. Will's yard was like a meeting place. Like we were. You said earlier, who said, maybe I said the word gravity, you said dynamite, but even back
Catalyst.
then, everybody wanted to be
Epicenter.
at Will's place. Everybody wanted to be with us, ride their bikes to our place down at Will's. And it may have been how cool we were. It might have been very, the fact that your dad punched cinder blocks in the yard and it was super cool to watch him blow cinder blocks up.
That's great, yeah.
And rip,
He had a karate background.
You don't
yeah.
see that every day.
He's the only guy I've ever seen that would like tear. Remember the old giant phone books?
Yeah.
Just for fun, just tear them in half, things like that. And that was back in the Power days, if you don't remember. And but anyhow, there was a creek out back, and we spent a lot of days underneath this little bridge in the creek. And once again, this guy's Chris. His name keeps coming up.
Catching crayfish and
and snakes.
seining minnows. And
Yep. So it's always been on our blood. And I remember the one day, it stopped me if I told this story in the podcast before, but that kid Chris was in the creek about 8-10 feet down, and me and Will were hanging out, and we were throwing rocks in the creek. And I threw a rock, and Chris walked out from underneath the bridge right at the right time, hit him in the head with a rock.
Oh.
Split his head wide open. Like, it should have killed him. But
Yeah.
instead of, like, trying to get him tons of help, we just, like, walked him back to the house and was like, Bridget, which is Will's mom, hey, Bridge, hey, he's bleeding all over the
you know what? It's funny. I want to stop you there. I actually hit Chris with a rock, so Catfish didn't feel bad.
Yeah.
About doing it.
Well, I was getting it.
I was like, no, bud, you're cool.
watch.
If you're not,
That was just what I
I
was
don't want you
getting
to
at.
feel alone.
He was such a brother that he had my back so that I didn't be the only one in trouble. Yeah, the poor kid got smacked twice.
No,
I got in less trouble for it.
That's
told,
his leadership and welcoming skills.
Yeah,
I
right.
said, Chris, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you.
He was fine after an ice pack and a couple days in bed.
But
And that's exactly why I got choked up. I mean, Will is willing to do not necessarily the best thing in his interest, just to
Well, that was in
put him with you.
that was like in third grade. So
But he still does. I mean,
I've grown up a little bit.
but I guess you're selfless.
I mean, if I hit
you're
Phil in the
selfless.
head with a rock, you'd do it too.
Oh, and Stevie would, and David would,
Oh,
and Catfish would.
Well,
you want to know one of
pile
the best,
because we've all learned from Will.
one of the best stories I have of Will. We wrestled together when we were kids, and
That's what I want to hear some wrestling.
yeah, I know you like wrestling, so I brought it up. So we wrestled as we were kids, and Will was always much better at it than I was. And I remember him wrestling this kid. You know, obviously it's always the kid that you can't beat. Oh, nobody can beat him. Nobody can beat him. And remember Will wrestling this kid. And you know how you stand on the side of off to the side of the mat, the circle, and you're looking in, and you jump down on the mat, and you're smacking the mat, and you're like, come on, bud, come on. And you know how crazy some of the, like our coach was like that guy on the mat yelling and blah, blah, blah.
Jumping up on the chairs.
And
Everyone but me is like, they're all animated, and
Yeah.
I was often annoyed by all that. But Yeah.
Very calm and collected, walk out to wrestle this guy that can't be beat, blah, blah, blah. I'm standing on the side of the mat, watching my brother go out to wrestle him. And he, like, I don't remember all the moves now back in the day, but, like, the cross face, like, it got into it. And, like, the cross face, the Diamond Dallas Page Diamond Cutter. Like, I don't even remember what all Will did to this kid.
Figure 4 leg
Oh,
lock.
I hit him with a rock bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
People's elbow.
Yeah, a couple times.
He manhandled. Him.
Yes.
Is what I'm getting.
Within the first minute or so, I remember watching this kid fly up in the air and land on his back, and Will obviously landed on top, and it was slow motion. Like, it was slow motion.
Oh, yeah.
You could see the hand go down, like one.
And then he grabbed him with the camel clutch.
No. I remember him looking over at me, and it was just the slowest motion. If you can stop for a second and picture what was the movie whenever Jack Nicholson looked at that guy and he was like, yeah. Like, Will looked over at me and, like, scrunched his nose.
Anger
management. Yeah, that crazy look. As he was pinning this kid, he looked over and real slow up and down motion. He was like,
that is
freaking
awesome.
I still remember that day.
That right there. I want you to look over at me when you're freaking letting go of the bowstring one day. With the same look. Exactly.
Jack Nicholson anger
management. Exactly. Just let it fly and just go, Buck. And folks out there in podcast land, I'm nodding my head and giving a big old grin like Will would.
It was a good day. There are the types of days that you know that you found a brother that's going to be a leader forever, because it wasn't even that it was all that tough for him. Like, he was in so much control of that wrestling match that it was like, what?
Yeah, you're my bitch now. Yeah. I mean, basically.
So that's when I peaked, and right after that it was all downhill. So.
No, it hasn't been all downhill, because you've used that experience now for young guys. I know for a fact that you have. I mean,
I have lots of.
If
stories.
it wasn't for that experience, Will, you wouldn't have had the effect on my son's lives as you've had.
Yeah. I just, like, in that moment, I had an opportunity to not only have a personal victory, but
share it with me.
I was able to share it with one dude in that entire arena.
Yeah.
I
was essentially pinning that guy because
you helped him. You gave him the leverage.
It's one of those moments in life where you're in a tree stand and that one huge buck looks up at you and says, "I know you're there," and you can't do anything about it. Go ahead and pull the bow back.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll wait here. I'll wait. Settle in, because you're not gonna get me. Like, he knows.
Yeah.
Will looked over and he was like, "Dude, this is nothing."
That was like the number one guy in the district.
Yeah, I got this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Got him.
He didn't even make
How'd
it
that
2
feel,
minutes.
Will? How did that feel when you were doing that? Like before
Thursday.
you looked over at Catfish, before you realized that you had it like that, how did that feel in your, like, because obviously you gained some confidence before you looked up and gave that look.
I spent what seems like a lifetime losing, like losing years and years of going to tournaments, traveling for wrestling, wrestling almost not quite year round, but tons of losing. And that particular year was my breakout. And, and I had a short run, where I was doing fairly well. It's kind of, big up and down. But the bottom line is, like, that was my year to kind of break out. And he was there to see that action.
That's cool.
And to know kind of what I've been through versus where I'm going to be, or where I was going. That meant a lot to me.
And honestly, in this podcast, Get to Know Will, you have had a lot of, being real, your life hasn't always been so easy. So ups and downs, we've had a lot of amazing times in our lives, and not everything's been so easy. So to watch you win knowing you've done it all by yourself. Everything that you've accomplished for that moment was.
It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't.
It was a cool moment.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly by myself, but like when you start to make a decision that you're going to do something and you actually carry it out, you know.
But it was a moment in time where I saw that not only were you didn't just win. You knew you found this that you found this moment where you could enjoy the win before you won. Like you already knew, like this is I'm in total control of this, and it feels good.
That was a long time coming. Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And isn't that now what you trained for? Like that moment? Like,
I don't know that.
That's what I'm glad he did it because I enjoyed it.
It was better than losing,
dude. I mean,
it beats losing.
It's got me all fired up, and that's why, like, he's underdeveloping this, and I'm like wanting this big, huge, like, you know, the victory of the win, you know, like Jim McKay on ABC Wide World of Sports.
I wasn't a killer like that. You know, I didn't care about that. It was just doing. It got to a point where I just needed to be better than I was, and whatever I did that day or that week, I wanted to start to grow.
But really quick, as a wrestling fan, I have to say this really quick. That is exactly why the wrestling fan loves wrestling, because you put it together, you dominated, you realized it, you everything came together right then in that moment, and you put your will upon another person's physical presence.
Well, even past wrestling, and
then Catfish put his will upon that guy's presence.
Actually,
no. When his buddy will.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good.
I like what you did there. I see what you did there. I like that.
My point of that whole story is the fact that you just don't ever give up until you reach the point where there's nothing else that you can pass that moment. Like you could have continued to wrestle and go on, but at that moment it was more of an accomplishment. And to this day, even now, if you have a challenge in front of you, you will fail and fail and fail, no matter how many times it takes, until you win. Yeah. That is not something. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that when you do fail, because it might be once or twice. But at the same time, I mean, everybody fails. It's the difference between people that conquer and people that give up. Even to this day, I mean, that you just never give up until you win. So,
that's the wrestler.
But I don't win the first time. You know, I don't win. It never feels like a win. I just kind of keep going and keep doing and keep changing. And
you don't stop though.
You know, and I want to wrap the wrestling thing up because it wasn't my favorite time in my life.
No, it was just a fun story that I saw through my eyes.
But I remember looking at you, you know, rolling my eyes, you know. And I don't remember anything else about that match. But I do. And I remember you smirking back at me like, F yeah. You know what I mean? It was just like that is, and it's 100% true. I'm not making that up. It was a long time ago, and I remember nothing. I don't remember that guy's name. I don't remember.
Oh, I remember what he looks like.
Yeah, I don't.
I guess it's because I was the outside looking in.
Yeah. I mean, I was. Yeah. I had to focus, and then, but then in that moment when it was pretty much over, and I got to, and you were. It just so I could have been anywhere. You know what I mean? You don't know where you're going to be on the mat and who you're going to be looking at, where and when. And
I just remember.
I never look at the crowd ever.
Yeah. I remember being on the sideline, on the side of the mat, and hearing some people say that there's no way that he can be beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never looked at the crowd anytime. You know what I mean? It's like my mom. Like I'm in this gigantic place, and you know, like there were 6 mats at one time. You know, running and the only person I could hear screaming and embarrassing me was my mom.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's just
the littlest person in the whole building.
So anyway, all that's in the past, but that I remember that moment and something that you know you and I get to share, and that meant more, you know, than the win and stuff, because it doesn't really
No,
It doesn't define. If you let that moment define you or that time define you, you don't go anywhere. You just stay there.
There are a few moments that echo in forever.
Yeah.
And that moment I'll always remember that.
That was for
that
us.
look.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But and I hate to keep doing it.
Do it,
I'm gonna
brother.
bring it right back.
Hammer
to where
that
we
point.
started.
Nail it.
I'm gonna nail it.
Who was your favorite president?
No. But you guys
President.
both remember that. You remember that moment, and you don't remember it for the victory, and you don't remember it for the glory or any other aspect other than doing it together.
It was a
Like,
brother.
you guys-
It was a
you
brotherhood
guys were
moment.
Both there. You're both in the moment, and it's like it doesn't matter
Yeah.
that it
Check
was,
this out. That's if I could have yelled it. Catfish.
Look at this.
Check this out.
He ain't got nothing on me.
I got this. Someday.
He's losing.
Right. So it's a summation of
And it's
everything that we've said.
This is deep. I got this guy tight. He's wrapped up like a present.
All right, so I got a question out of left field.
Tell him to count to 13 while we're at it.
Take your time, ref.
I'm having a good old time.
What's your question, Ryan?
Question out of left field. A little bit of get to know Will, like what makes you tick? If you could change anything in the PA Game Commission regulations, other than Sunday hunting, what would it be?
Other than Sunday hunting?
Yeah.
Other.
Now, I only want one thing.
What's
And,
that,
You
bud?
know, and I don't want to change your question, but like I don't need big game Sunday hunting. I want small game Sunday.
I said
hunting.
other than Sunday hunting.
Yeah, I know. I get.
Any other regulation?
That's it. That's all I want. Like I like what we do.
I'm not sure you understand the question, bud.
Clearly, you
Other.
really
It's
don't.
other than
Other.
Sunday.
So Sunday hunting happened in a perfect world for you.
Oh, there we go.
Now, what would you like to be changed?
But what kind? I mean, if there was a small game Sunday hunting, you got to get that. I want to diversify my hunting. You know what I mean?
You want a day so you can small game hunt
Yeah.
and not ruin your deer season.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yahtzee.
Well, and for the record, you also need a different property. You can't go small game hunting where you deer hunt.
I agree with
Is
that.
that just me or okay?
No, I totally agree with
Why
that.
is that? You spook the deer?
Well,
yeah.
you're messing your deer
I think
patterns
we
up.
agree. I mean, we don't small game hunt where we're trying to deer hunt.
Yeah.
Though.
We sit in a deer stand.
I
My
just don't
son's
get
like,
time
"There's so
to-
many
to
squirrels. Let's
squirrel
come out
hunt."
here squirrel hunt." And I was like, "Nope,
Nope.
doesn't work like that."
No, I agree with Ryan on that.
So if Ryan was able to get you small game hunting on Sunday, you'd be cool.
Everything.
That's all it
That's
takes.
it.
Yeah, I don't really have an issue. You know, I think we have a nice population. Not, I'm going to say the populations or different areas have different things, but like we have opportunity. We, as a group, are out year round doing something.
Yeah.
You know, so
There's
know,
always ways to make it better. I got a laundry list of things.
I'm sure I don't
I do
spend
too.
I just don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. I'm not going to lie. That's not something that
I would hunt does before they're bred. So you're not killing 2 or 3 does.
I just read an article about where that's a good thing.
But what's a good thing?
Hunting doe before the rut.
That's why I just said that. I wrote that article.
Absolutely.
I told him to write that article.
catfish.
It was
that
under
Yes, but
Isn't that what we're doing
his
now?
surname. Right now, does they're starting to get bred.
They are?
So
yeah. I have
The
a
best thing you can do is fill your doe tags.
I have
early.
zero time, but I have a fun story about it. I'd tell that story next time. I had an awesome experience with a buck chasing does next to me this
Right.
past day. So
It was cool.
yeah.
I don't have it. I just don't spend a lot of time. We do what we do.
But
I get
what
rid
would
of
be your
spotlight.
what would be your dream hunt if we're back on the hunting
Good.
spectrum?
Yeah.
What would be your dream hunt?
Bucket hunt.
Well, I'm still full board thinking about a moose hunt somewhere, Newfoundland or something cool. Yeah, I'd love to. That would be probably my dream right now.
What would you take to that hunt?
Catfish.
Bibs.
And love.
Weapon wise.
I would.
Catfish.
Catfish.
Bibs.
Catfish and bibs.
You don't need bogs. I'll carry you through the water.
And a headlamp.
Don't worry, brother. You keep your clothes dry. We're good.
You know, I that's something that I kind of would talk with the outfitter, or whoever took me, and I'd probably buy something new.
Yeah.
You know, but
I'd let you borrow Faith.
300 would, absolutely. I probably would buy something new, whatever, a 300 or 338 or something like that. I have a 30-06. It's my biggest gun, so I mean that would definitely do it. The
Right
job.
shot placement will do it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that wouldn't do it, but
That would be
I
a
wanna
special.
make it special.
Yeah.
Fishing trip around the world.
Just I just want to fish at this
Peacock
point.
bass in Brazil.
Just peacock bass.
Actually,
I'll go back down.
now that you bring that up, I'm kind of been thinking about that a lot. Like giant topwater baits in the Amazon for the big
big
peacocks.
ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been on my mind lately.
Did you listen to the Larry Dahlberg episode lately?
No, I didn't listen to it. I wasn't invited to it.
Sorry, bud.
There's always an open invitation.
I heard about it after it happened.
He sat in for you.
He sat in for you,
I know
bud.
that. I heard that. It was awesome. I was stuck at work, so it was hidden from me.
Yeah,
Thank you, Larry Dahlberg, for being me. It's awesome.
I just told Stevie that, I want to get on something big, something that I got to fight for a while. If it's a halibut or
Halibut, yes.
that Goliath,
Grouper.
big grouper.
Off the
Marlin.
kayak.
I mean, just anything. Let's do it. I don't want to say
Muskie.
no.
I'm ready. I know one of the
Muskie.
things. One of the things me and Will were chasing down are we have a spring snakehead. We're going for spring snakeheads, topwater snakeheads, off the kayaks.
Yeah,
That would be a good time.
absolutely.
What do you like most about podcasting?
Yeah, it's the podcast is awesome because of the group. I love it. It kind of trips a lot of triggers with the editing and making things fit, make it what it needs to be.
And there's a significant level of creativity that is, especially with a
This
group like us, that is constantly giving you new material to or new ways to.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a hard time getting rid of some of it,
Yeah.
But I do get rid of it because I think we're just original.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun things that we do and say, and I don't want to hang on to too much of the past.
Well, a creative outlet is something that every human being needs. You said earlier that I can draw anything, but and you can play a guitar, but I actually see it with you. Even though it's a lot of work, you super enjoy putting this together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I can tell that too. That's why I've never offered to help edit.
Well, why take it
I'm
from
like,
them?
you're enjoying it too much.
Yeah, way
I
too
can't-
much.
You're gonna
I hate to take it away, but
You're gonna take 6 hours of his Sunday fun away. How are you gonna hunt on Sundays anyhow when you got to edit our podcast?
Yeah.
He'll be done by 12.
It's
He'll
just
be ready
small
to
game.
edit.
But Will edits.
be out of the woods
Will
and
edits
edit.
like he's our parent, though. He only wants his kids to sound the best. And,
Yeah.
and that's the way I look at it. I look at it when Will edits, it's apparent, and when he has something to say to you back after editing, it's not a tear down; it's a build up. Dude, I love you. Try this the next time. Build on this.
Yeah.
Not a tear down, not a criticism, but something for us all to do better as, and that's what I mean. Come on, I mean, as far as the podcasting goes,
That's
you build us up, you mentor us. It's
That's the hardest part, is because I don't want to be a D-bag.
And you're not.
I'm kind of, and let's make this great, fun and great. And
you do it out of love. And
it is love.
Trying to make podcasting great again.
well, not even podcasting great again.
Us.
I look at it as us setting bars. Not even great again. We are making great.
Yeah.
So, starting the podcast was kind of like, if you go back and listen to our first episode, to episode 1, where Posted Outdoors becomes Rutten River Pursuits, starting the podcast was kind of closing a chapter on something that you had spent, a significant portion of your life building, and opening a new chapter on something else. When you did that, last year, or even 18 months ago when you started getting that ball rolling, did you think you'd be at this spot or at this point, a year from now?
Yes.
You did?
As funny as it sounds,
That's exactly where you knew you would be right here.
I didn't know exactly, but like I always have a timeline. I always have a goal. I've said this a handful of times. Like when I let you guys in on the next thoughts, I've thought about this 100 times, and this processes and these things and where I want to, and I'm not. So like, it's cool. Like I like to. Like you guys said, my head never turns off. So yeah. I've been thinking about this stuff constantly for a couple of years now. I've wanted to do a podcast for when we started, but the timing wasn't right. The guys, the crew.
You mentioned it to me like 6 years ago.
The brotherhood wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be weird and say that I did expect this, but like this is actually probably a little bit better. I mean I guess I.
Don't tell us that. Tell us we're still a little behind where you thought you'd be.
I hope that you guys get to where I'm thinking.
Be a little better.
No, I don't know if you've heard, but a lot like that wrestling match. It's been a long time coming, a lot of work, and I'm pretty sure when Will caught that giant peacock bass, I caught just that little bit of a glimpse when he looked over at me and did that slow motion, like, yeah. Oh, by the way, did I tell you that Will caught the biggest peacock bass on our Florida trip?
I think I've heard that somewhere before.
Man.
Yeah.
We'll
I mean, that's basically it, is that I'm going through these things and I've been planning this stuff for a long time, and to have you guys along and to start to adopt the ideas and make them yours. I think that's where I find the most growth, is that, when you guys do a breakout session and find something new to kind of, tweak a process or something like that. That's, when you have a cool idea about a new segment and you just bring it to me and I'm like, cool. Like I kind of even beat myself up. Like I should have bad word thought of that,
We're doing a good job with that.
I like how we're going to use that now.
Bad word.
I just Uncle Bucked it.
Bad word, right?
And it's so Will Ferrell, like, comedic tool, but it works, guys. I mean, I so bad want to use bad words at times, but I understand bad words don't reflect us in the best of ways, and it's not the most creative of ways, because that's why bad words popped up there.
Yeah, it was funny.
But is there anything else you want to cover? Is there anything else? We get, and Phil's the perfect example. We start talking about it. There's no. It's hard for us to summarize, what our thoughts and opinions are for you. Is there any? So
I think I just want to draw some attention to David Kyle.
Yeah,
I feel like he's been gypped because he has the least time with me.
You think?
I'm completely the new guy.
Totally gypped. Bless your heart.
It's okay. We'll make up for it eventually.
You need more will time.
It's true.
But he's blessed because he's part of it, and it.
Not if I have shit to do about it.
A little more catfish time.
Come in here in 3
time.
months and take my brother from me.
Catfish.
I saw how you deal with stuff, David Cow. By the way, guys, we're going to be fishing in this hole. Wham, wham, wham. Oh, there's no more bass in that hole. Let's go.
It only happened once.
And you know what I'm learning about you, new brother? Every week it's some, hell, by the way, I got a pontoon boat. By the way, I got a bay boat.
Yeah.
I got a cabin up in Alaska. Every week it's something new.
I only go
Play the
halibut
Guinness there.
fishing with my dad.
I only use soap that I derive from my kills.
I can't tell you guys where I'm going at all, but I'll be back in 3 weeks and show you my polar bear rug. Whatever the case may be.
The
He's
first
like
part
the
was
father-
true. That last part, I wish was true though.
Catfish, you do me a favor.
Yes.
Could you close this episode out with another one of those fond memories?
I'll take you to the blood trail.
I'll take you.
Yes.
That's great. You don't believe me? Yeah, you don't believe me? I'll take you to the blood trail.
Show us blood here, Catfish.
Just a memory of me and Will.
Yeah. Another one of those stories.
I don't know if we've ever actually told this story. I think we told it on Span the Void of us turning a yellow lab into a chocolate lab. But I think it was
That was on Span the Void.
That was funny.
You got to tell it.
Yes.
You got to tell it.
Go over to Span the Void and check it out.
Yeah, check the yellow lab.
Yeah.
I think that was episode 75.
How do you
Crappie
know
guy.
this stuff?
Crappie guy.
No, I don't know.
It's the Crappie Guys episode. I heard it might be coming up again here pretty soon.
Really?
Yeah.
If it's not,
It's a
it should be.
re-release.
Can you make that happen?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good. Yeah,
I know a guy.
go check out Span the Void soon, where they're going to get a new, hopefully brand new podcast epic guy on their show.
They are.
Yeah, I only live 8 miles away. And I got nothing to do on Monday night.
That's good. Guys, thank you so much for doing this. I don't want to, let's not drag
This
it
is
out.
tough for
Thanking
you,
us for
isn't it?
something that
This is tough for you.
And when you want to know, I have a first impression. I know when the first time I met you, and when that memory stuck of who was Will Meiser.
What happened?
How long have you known Will?
6 months.
Stripes.
Poconuts.
Would it be a lie to say since 2006, 2007?
Now you're making me do math.
2006. Yeah, it's got to be.
It's a while.
11 years.
11 years.
Because it was before I was a nurse, and then I remember I became a nurse. I got my license, and I used to travel down to IR. And
Interventional radiology.
yeah, if you will.
I thought he meant the Irish Republic. But go on.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up, bud.
That's Dave's new clothing line.
Infrared. What did we say?
I thought for a while Will was giving me a hard time. Like, because he would ask hard questions. I'm like, what, you busting my chops or something here? And then I finally realized, like, this guy actually wants to know something about me. He's just not busting my chops.
Well, he was because you were beardless at the time.
And I was. It was so long ago.
Look like David Kyle.
You know what, Phil? I have to tell you though,
It's work related. Sorry.
But all joking aside, your beard is epic. Would you please leave some pussy for the rest of us?
Sorry.
Seriously.
There'll be enough left for you guys.
It looks pretty amazing. Keep it going.
You're making me blush again, just like Will did back in 2007, But, like, I just want to leave this.
Somebody close this out.
Will,
I asked Phil how long have you known Will? How long do you think you've known
He said
Will?
since 2006.
Well,
11
it's only
years.
because I had something to say right after that. But
over 10 years. And when I first met Will, I just kind of thought he was patronizing and not really interested
not
in me.
Will,
Well, yeah.
the jokester. But you didn't take him as a jokester.
Oh, I took him as a complete jokester, but I did not realize that there was a deeper,
More to it.
that his joking
Cerebral.
was probing for deeper issues.
He wasn't patronizing you. He was patronizing you.
Tune in next time when I
Yes.
tell you how right after the movie Predator comes out, me and Will watch it at Chris's house. Once again, Chris, and we go hunt down the Predator out back of Bedford, Pennsylvania. We never found him, but
You
we sure
didn't.
did look for him. We learned a lot in the woods that summer. Invisible bastard.
I have. This is wonderful.
You're speechless.
I can't say anything.
I love it.
Guys, thank you so much for doing this. This has been phenomenal. Again, all these kind words, I don't believe it for a second, but thanks for doing it.
Did I hear an I love you in there? What?
I love you guys.
He was hitting
okay.
it. Oh,
There it
it
is.
was.
Yeah, I was getting to that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm not good with words.
Except for
I
Tattletale
don't know what to do with my
Quit
hands.
love shaming.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Quit love shaming.
It's okay. It's a podcast. You don't have to worry about your hands.
Oh, good. So this will be heavily edited, and
doubt
I
that.
appreciate again just everything you guys do for me and the podcast and our friendship, our group, because you guys make it. This is not something that I don't know. If I have a part in it, I whatever.
Apparently, this is going to be the edited part. But
Very
go
much.
Tuesday,
It's going
he's
to sound perfect at the end. It's
On
gonna be like,
Tuesday, he's
I
going to
think
hire
you guys
5
are-
hobos to redo. You guys want to sit down and say some shit about me or what?
There'll be 5
second.
homeless people here next week.
Oh,
doing
you
the
said
podcast.
hobos. Got it.
Tyler Dunn's fun.
Hey, Will.
The best. Yeah. Thank you guys. Seriously.
Hey, Will. Where can they find us?
www.ruttenriverpursuits.com.
Where else?
Or you can just go to ruttenriverpursuits.com
Without the W's.
without the W's.
Right.
Because who needs W's nowadays?
Someone said you can do that.
DK.
And that bothers
It
them.
doesn't work.
You can put in DK.RuttenRiver
R2 David Kyle.
It's R2 David Kyle.
on YouTube. Go watch his duck hunt.
Hey Ryan, where can I hear the best of our nose whistles?
Check us out at ruttenriverpursuits.com. On the website, you can find all the information you need to listen to the back catalog of the podcasts. You can download us on iTunes, Google,
Stitcher.
Castbox.
Castbox. Don't forget about Castbox. You can also check us out on YouTube. Channel's up and running. That is Rutten River Pursuits Podcast.
Facebook, Instagram,
And Twitter.
Twitter.
Get you some.
See ya later.
It doesn't matter what you
get it
like. We
there.
like it.
Yeah, this is our show.
Will.
Deal with it.
You have nothing to do with it tonight.
Genie Blink.
This is the one night you have no control over.
Zero control. How much
really
control does he
nervous.
One
have?
less than one control.
I have
He has.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a delete button.
He's got an edit room.
No, I don't. You guys are always,
We're right.
always welcome to come over here and edit this up.
Oh, we're gonna hear about this.
No
on
thanks.
Sunday.
They left me on
Yeah,
the porch
but
butt
catfish.
naked.
Why were they laughing?
Do you remember what they were yelling?
I didn't
Oh
say
my
the-
God! Look at that three-legged boy.
Look at that 2-inch Kitech.
No, wait a minute. I never
trying to help
said
you.
swim bait, ladies.
I was trying to help you. I said three-legged boy.
I never
Saying.
said the girls were laughing. I said Chris and Will were laughing.